Hello, and welcome to the National Day of Reflection 2023. I'm Janet Ellis, and I'll be your host today as we all come together for the third UK National Day of Reflection, led by Marie Curie and supported by hundreds of organisations, schools, workplaces and communities. Today is a day for us to remember our loved ones who've died during the pandemic and to support family, friends, colleagues and neighbours who are still grieving. Of course, we'll all feel grief during our lives, and millions of us across the UK, adults as well as children, are feeling it right now. Marie Curie research shows that the pain of grief can be even more acute when you're grieving alone, something lots of us were forced to do during the pandemic. I'll share with you that my husband John died in 2020, and of course, he and the pain of losing him is with me all the time. But I know that sharing this day with so many people really helps, not just for today, but for the whole year to come. It's such a positive thing. And the National Day of Reflection gives us an opportunity to share our compassion, our love, and give active support so that no one has to grieve alone. Now, grief is a universal human experience that we'll all meet at some point in our lives. But the National Day of Reflection aims to raise awareness of the need for better bereavement support for everyone in the UK, so we're never alone during our darkest and most difficult moments in our lives. Coming up this morning, we have Vanessa Kissule performing an incredible spoken word piece that she's written especially for the National Day of Reflection. And we're also going to hear from people all over the UK who are remembering their lost loved ones today. And at midday, we'll pause together to share a moment of silent reflection to honour those who have died and show support for the millions of us who are grieving. And finally, we'll have music from Tunng with their track, Carry You, to lead us out. First this morning, I'm joined by Debbie Ripley from Marie Curie. Debbie is the Assistant Director of Caring Services for Marie Curie in London. Debbie, thanks so much for joining us. Now, why is it important to have a National Day of Reflection, and why do we still need it 3 years on, do you think?
Well, I think the pandemic taught us that grief and bereavement are everywhere, and it made us really reflect on how we say goodbye to people. And you'll remember during the pandemic, it was really difficult for many people to say goodbye to their loved ones in care homes, in hospitals. In hospices, we had restricted visiting, and it wasn't a natural way to say goodbye to people. We were using technology, FaceTiming, messaging, and I think, that legacy lives on, and I think it's so important to have a day where we can stop and all be together and support each other in our workplaces, in our communities.
And of course, it almost goes without saying that grief is a very unique and deeply personal experience, but how could the UK better support people who've been bereaved in a way that acknowledges this, do you think?
So I think it goes back to everybody's different, and making sure there's different ways to access different services and support. So for younger people, they might be happier reading things or texting or using something a bit more interactive, whereas other people might want to use, reflections, poetry, art. So it's having choice, isn't it? And having something different for everybody so that everybody can feel connected in a different way.
Absolutely. And what does Marie Curie as a charity do to help people who are grieving?
So we have an information and support line that's available 7 days a week. We have lots of resources on our website. We have check-in and chat, which is a kind of text service for people to use. And again, lots of different ways for people to connect, as well as if they call the helpline, we can signpost them to services locally and nationally across the UK.
Well, thanks, Debbie. What would you like to say to anyone who's grieving today?
I would just say, please reach out, speak to somebody you know and you trust, whether it's a work colleague or a friend at school or somebody in your family, and tell them how you're feeling, and don't bottle it up. Talk about it. That's what we want to say.
Next today, we have a poem from Vanessa Kissule. Vanessa is a writer and performer from Bristol, and she's won over 10 Poetry Slam titles. She's been invited to perform all over the world, from Belgium to Brazil to Bangladesh, and she's published several volumes of poetry to critical acclaim. The following piece was commissioned for the National Day of Reflection. Based on conversations Vanessa's had with a number of people who've been bereaved, the poem vividly portrays the experience of grief and loss in recent years.
How quiet is it there, in the black treacle of grief? Why do some try to pull you out, forgetting this is where you live? What's that old soul song on the radio? Show me again that particular silly way your mother stabbed the air with her fingers, as if to slide the beat past a knuckle. Watch it gleam like a wedding ring. What lullaby did you sing to your son? What futures briefly glimpsed in his face? Everyone should live forever, surely. What God lives on the other side of hopelessness? How do any of us survive our lives? Our rage, the stubborn weeds of our joy? How does laughter feel as it thieves its way up your throat? Was it them you saw in a stranger's pram, the back of a short woman's head, a purple velvet hem licking the ground? How vivid are the memories still, the evergreen triumph of their name? Who knew love and loss were dance partners, tightly pressed and desperate, gracious? And love wears bare feet on a dusty floor, keeps spinning, spinning, filling the room, even if the music stops.
Thanks to Vanessa and to all those who contributed for that powerful piece. Up and down the country today, hundreds of thousands of you will be remembering your loved ones at one of our walls of reflection, or in places of worship, or perhaps simply in your own thoughts. We'll hear now from some of those people.
I'm Neris, and today I'm thinking about my mum and my dad. I'm remembering, this is the first year that they've both been not with us, and I'm remembering their unconditional love and kindness and humour. That's, I think, what I'm remembering the most, and I'm very grateful that I had them for as long as I did.
My name is Jasveer Singh, and I'm remembering my grandmother. She was a single parent who brought up 5 children all by herself. She lived until the age of 90, and she saw so much during her lifetime. And she's just so sorely missed by all of us within the family.
I'm Dan. I am remembering today my mum, who died almost a year ago today, actually, at Curie, Solihull in the Midlands. My mum was quite a serious person. She was a teacher, but she was very, she loved a prank, she loved a wind-up, and she loved to wind up my dad. So every year on April Fool's Day, there'd be something going on. My dad would work nights and he'd be asleep, so my mum would wake him up and be like, "John, there's someone on the phone," or "There's someone at the door," and every year he would like fall for it.
I'm Olia Hercules, and today I'm remembering my grandmothers, Lucia and Vera. They embodied this combination of qualities which I admire and try to cultivate within myself. They were equally strong, kind, and empathetic. Despite all the hardships that they have experienced from an early childhood, they managed to preserve their humanity and to pass it on to my parents and then to me. And I really hope to be able to pass it on to my own children.
My name's Marie. I'm a Marie Curie nurse, and the thing about this day I remember most is my sister Karen, and the things I remember most about her that I miss is literally obviously sharing the same bedrooms, having rays over, tidying up the bedroom, and obviously going out night clubbing.
I'm Reverend Cassius Francis, and today I'm remembering my nan. I remember the fact that she prayed for us every single day. Yeah, this is a book that our family put together about my nan. So we have some of her favourite stories, her sayings, and photographs that are really significant to us.
I'm Catherine Mannix, and I'm remembering today my parents-in-law, Roland and Evelyn. The thing I miss most is the things that they are missing about how family life continues, but it continues to celebrate the joy of them and the wisdom that they shared with us.
I'm Becky, and I'm here today to remember my mum and dad. The thing I miss about them most is them just being there. Even now, sometimes something happens with my kids or something at work and I would just want to phone them. I miss their hugs, I miss their advice, and I miss how proud I know they'd be of my children that have grown up into such lovely young people. So this is for them today.
My name's Rue Callender. I'm from the Green Funeral Company. I'm remembering my mother, Ros, who was the chief fundraiser for the first hospice in Scotland, St Columbus, and whose life and whose death had an enormous influence on the way I work. The thing I miss most about her is that she isn't around to see me being an undertaker, because she would have been incredibly proud that her work had led me to this work.
My name is Beth Namara. I'm a Marie Curie community nurse, and on this National Day of Reflection, I remember my dad and my best friend, who was my adopted sister. And what I miss most about my father, I didn't grow up with a father, I miss the fatherly love. And what I miss about seeing my sister, the counseling, the guidance, the advising bits, the love, the care. She was my prayer partner, my everything.
I'm Sheila Hancock, and I'm here on the Day of Reflection, remembering some of the people in my life that have left, and supporting Marie Curie. Wonderful.
How lovely it is to hear those heartfelt words from all over the country. We really do stand together today, united in grief. Now we're approaching midday, so please join us as we come together as a nation to observe a minute of silence for those who are gone and for those who grieve them. From all of us here at the National Day of Reflection and Marie Curie, we are honoured to have shared that minute of silence with you. We hope it brings comfort, knowing you're connected to millions of other people who share your grief. And if you or someone you care about is grieving, the Marie Curie support line is here for you. you can call 0800 090 2309 for practical and emotional support, whatever your situation. Or search Marie Curie Bereavement Support. Stay tuned for a roundtable discussion at 12 p.m. today, chaired by Annika Rice, where she'll be joined by faith leaders, researchers and philosophers to tackle the big questions of life, death, and whether the past 3 years has changed our relationship with our mortality. But playing us out today are Tunng, a British folk band whose most recent project, Dead Club, is a journey through life, death and grief, with collaborators including Alain de Botton, Speech de Bell and Derren Brown. Now this song, Carry You, beautifully portrays our continuing relationships with loved ones after they die and how we carry them with us throughout our lives. Thank you for joining us today.
You lied, told me I was good. Each time I acted up again. Your eyes sparkled with mischief when I was lost inside my head. You danced as if the world might end. Now that's exactly what it's done. You made us something we were not. You turned us into something new. Our lives forever tangled up, no matter what we choose to do. We fought and didn't speak for months, until the stories fell away. You lied and covered lies with lies, and we lied to you in return. The truth made drunken forays out, wrapped up in hugs and vulgar words. We love each other with a fire, through all our faults and feebleness. Everywhere we go, we will carry you. Everywhere we go, we will carry you. In a fall of snow, in an open wound, in a summer coat, in an angry word, in a burst of hope, on the telephone, at the water's edge, on the creaking bow,